Kelton with Under Pressure Power Washing Services. It's been a while since I've done an update, so just want to kind of check in a little bit and see. You know, we're about a month into being full time since I left my job, and you know, I really was kind of concerned that I wasn't going to be busy enough to have something to do every day. You know, it's one of those fears that you have, that you know you're not going to be busy, and you know, you're taking a big risk, you're taking that leap. It takes a lot of faith and a lot of belief in yourself to do that. So I will definitely say that was kind of a struggle for me, was believing that I could kind of get out and do it. But you know, I had other people in the industry that I reached out and I spoke with that, you know, were very supportive of me and the decision to do it. You know, and just from what I was telling them, the feedback they were giving me made me kind of was there to support my belief and kind of kickstart my overall belief in myself. So, you know, I do want to say that, you know, for you guys, that a lot of times, you know, you kind of have to depend on somebody else's belief in you until your belief can kick in. And that was very big for me, you know, hearing these guys that are in the industry that are doing it at the level that I'd want to be doing it at, telling me that, you know, hey man, look, if you actually got out there, committed to it, and did the process, you know, you would easily crush whatever goal you have in mind. You know, because I was telling them, like, oh hey, I want to make 100,000 this year. That would just be great if I could make that. And they're sitting there telling me that, you know, okay, man, you'd blow that out of the water, you'd double that. So you know, and it took a while for me to kind of hear that and believe it. So anyways, let's get to kind of an update for this month. So my first month full time, really kind of by myself, I had a guy that was kind of on the fence with me. He was ready, he was gonna go for it. That was a big decision. For a big part of the reason why I decided that I was going to go full time was because I knew I was going to have him to help support me. But things happen. The guy has to move sooner than he thought, so it kind of fell out that it's not working out for me like I'd hoped to, like I'd wanted it to. But still, just kind of pushing on and knowing that, you know, it's going to be solo from this point on for a little while until I can kind of get somebody else on the team and kind of helping me out. With that in mind, I haven't really been pushing a lot of marketing. So without pushing a lot of marketing, really, to my surprise, like, I'm just as busy as I can stand to be right now by myself. And a lot of that I attribute to everything that I talked to you guys about up front. You know, whenever I started and I set up, I did a lot of work with my CRM, setting up my CRM, which I'm still using the Customer Factor. So using the Customer Factor to set up the way that I send my proposals, the way it comes across, the way it's delivered, the follow-up sequences for it, and then that customer life cycle, you know, that customer retention, you know, sending out little emails throughout the year periodically, keep in touch with all of my customers and get them coming back. All of that has been really good for me, and setting up the Google My Business page and really pushing on those reviews has done wonders for me. I have 59 reviews. I was hoping to get number 60 today. I'm actually going to text her a little bit later and follow up just to see if I can get her to leave that review. So I'm almost at 60 reviews, and you know, the number one company in our area has 70, and they've been doing it for 10 plus years. So to be that close after only a year in business just really kind of speaks volume to the things that I've implemented to try to push those reviews. And it shows that, you know, that is a goal that I set, that I'm going after. And you know, when you tend to measure stuff, it gets focused on, it gets improved. So yeah, so let's get to it. Here's kind of the numbers, what I'm looking at. Before I went full time, you know, I would do about 1,000 to 1,500 a weekend, just kind of doing it by myself. Early on, I wasn't doing so much. I'd probably only do a couple $100 on the weekend because I just didn't know how to price, and a lot of that was wasn't necessarily that I wasn't busy. I just didn't know how to price because, you know, at the beginning of this year, I was kind of doing the same amount of volume. You know, I'd still do 1 or 2 a day on the weekends, 2 or 3 days a week. And whereas before I'd probably make, you know, $400 or $500 on the weekend doing, you know, 3 or 4 houses, knowing how to price, knowing what the market rate is, knowing what the market will allow you to quote certain things, allowed me to up my price and actually start getting those tickets. So, you know, I would actually do less houses and make, you know, 2 and 3 times as much. So, you know, I got to the point where I was doing 2 or 3 houses on the weekend, and I'd average about $500 a house, and you know, easily do about $1,500 to $2,000 a weekend. Beginning of this year was really good for me. I was doing, you know, averaging about $2,000 a weekend. So I hit my first $10,000 month in, like, I think February. So that was really cool to have that big month like that. It was either January or February to hit about $10,000, and then, but that was just kind of like an oddball month. Like, for whatever reason, I just got really good, like, big ticket items. I wasn't really like slam busy. I got good ticket items, you know, where I was doing, you know, $2,000 and $3,000 on the weekend, doing it part time. But fast forward to now, you know, it's one thing to look at it and say, okay, hey, I had a really good weekend, and to think, okay, well, hey, this is going to be the new norm. I'm going to be this busy all the time. And then it's another one to kind of realize that, hey, you just had a good weekend, you just had a good month. Pump the brakes a little bit. Don't go out being nuts and buy a bunch of stuff that you can't afford. So that being said, that was kind of like my part-time sales. The next month wasn't as great. The next month I only did about $6,000, which is still pretty decent. You know, I did pretty good with that. Then get to this month where I'm full-time, worried that I'm not going to be able to bring in enough business, and I'm not going to be busy. This month being full-time, at $14,000. So that was really, really nice. You know, $14,000, because I'm still not really marketing. Like, I'm not pushing the marketing. I'm not doing, I have door hangers, I have flyers, I have yard signs. Really, like, the yard signs, I've only got one out. It's at one of the customers I just had, who's actually like a repeat customer for me. So, and he's kind of like tucked away, so it's not going to do me a whole lot of good with it being there, but just having it out, you know, is kind of comforting, knowing that at least I've got one of them out. The flyers and the door hangers, I haven't really been pushing them because, again, like, I'm busy enough from people calling, from just doing quick Google searches and finding my business and seeing how high I'm ranked on Google because of the reviews that I have. It's, you know, you've got the #1 company and then me right behind them. So I get a lot of calls from that. And then what's getting me business is when they're calling that #1 company, that #1 company is like 2 months out. So if they call me and I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll see you in 2 days, obviously I'm staying busy. So SEO, all those things has really, really helped me out. And then pushing for those Google reviews, getting those rankings up, those ratings up, has helped me a lot as far as staying busy. So right now, I'm kind of looking at bringing somebody else on. Not sure who it is yet, though. That's the only problem. Got one guy that comes, he helps me out periodically, trying to get him to take that leap. But, you know, I had a hard enough time believing in myself to be able to take that leap. So for somebody else to kind of look and say, okay, you know, not only do they have to believe in themselves enough to feel like they would be okay taking that leap and coming on to work with me, but they have to believe in me enough that I'm steady enough and I'm going to be able to provide for them. So it puts a lot of weight on me. It puts a big burden on my shoulders that, you know, I have to be able to prove that, and I have to be able to back that up too. It's a big decision for him. He's on the fence. He's got a good paying job, which is usually how it goes. He's got a good paying job. Hopefully I can convince him to come work with me. That would be great. But if not, there's at least one other individual I know of that I may reach out to and just see Only problem is he's a younger kid, he's in school, so he would only really be available during the summer. I guess what I would probably want you guys to take away from the video is that, you know, it took me a while to kind of believe that it would be possible for me to get out and start doing this and be successful with it. And it's still like it's still kind of surreal. I'm on the truck, I'm doing a lot of the work by myself, so it doesn't really feel like, I know I'm not really in that entrepreneurial role yet. I'm really just kind of, you know, a guy with a gig. Not to shame anybody on it, but that's really kind of what it is at this point. You know, I don't have a lot of systems in place. I don't have any real training videos or anything like that I've created yet. The systems are very minimal. You know, that's what it takes to be an entrepreneur, is really kind of creating those systems and developing the business. Now, there are things that I am doing that have that feel and that design and I know are working for me, and those things are, you know, like having the website. You know, that is very critical, you know, with all the SEO that's built in it. That's a big key performer for me. Having the Google My Business page up and running, and having the little system that I use for pushing for those reviews, and then having my CRM follow through and follow up to get those reviews as well. Those are the things that are going very well for the business, and are, you know, I can actually look at that and see the return on it. Like I said earlier in the video, I would say for anybody who's kind of watching these videos, because again, these are really for me. They're not really for being like a YouTube sensation or a star or whatever it is that a lot of these guys do. It's really just kind of for me to go back and look at. It's just a way for me to document, you know, my journey as an entrepreneur and how I'm growing the business, and so I can look back and say, okay, hey, you know, that was something really good that I did. That was something, you know, maybe I could have grown a little bit there. You know, it's kind of interesting to see that was important at that time for me. But this is really just like a video diary for me to kind of look back at. But again, I would say for anybody who is watching this, who's maybe getting some motivation from it, you know, you guys have to realize that, like, you know, I've had a couple of guys reach out to me saying, hey man, it looks like you're killing it. It looks like you're being extremely successful. And, you know, it's there. I mean, I am successful. I know that that's what's happening for me. And I am creating a business. I am growing the business. But what you guys don't see, and what a lot of guys aren't really talking about, is like all the mental preparedness and all the training and stuff that kind of goes into it, and then all the back office stuff. So, you know, running a successful business, pressure washing business, isn't necessarily about all the technical side of it, and knowing how to, you know, if you should downstream, if you should, you know, soft wash, if you should do, you know, whatever kind of different ratios and mixes and all that stuff, and knowing the right cleaners. Like, that's important. You need to know that stuff. You know, and you need to have good equipment that improves your efficiency. But you need to have a good foundation, and that good foundation being that, you know, you are focused on quality first and foremost. You always want to focus on quality. You are in the customer service business. Whenever you own a business, you are in customer service. So your customer service has to be on point. Your marketing and your follow-up has to be on point. Those are the things that you need to be successful with the business. But you need to be reading. Like, and if you don't like reading, I hate reading. I listen to audiobooks. Start getting you some really good business books. Start reading those and listening to those. I mean, that's really going to help you out. If you guys can afford it, or if you know somebody that will kind of take you under their wing and mentor you, definitely reach out to those individuals. That's going to be a huge, just kind of like step forward. I mean, that's going to help, you know, just kind of expedite the whole entire process. You can skip through so many of these little nuanced things in the very beginning of your business if you just take the time to read and learn more about what it actually takes to be a successful business owner. I'll tell you, I've mentioned him before, Mike Michalowicz. If you look up any of his books, I would highly recommend any of his books. First and foremost, Profit First. So you guys starting out early on, go ahead and figure out like the accounting side of your business and know how to budget that. That's going to be critical, because that was one of the biggest reasons why I was comfortable leaving my job and coming and doing this full time, was because I've already implemented the Profit First system. I already set up all my accounts to be able to pay my taxes and have my operating expense account, my owner's pay. I was already set up for that. That way I could actually cut myself checks and bonuses. And that is just such a huge side of having a successful business, is money. So learn what to do with your money, learn what it takes to be a successful business owner, get out there and really start pushing it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I know a lot of guys feel like, maybe they'll get picked on if they ask questions, and they probably will. That just kind of comes with the territory. But don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask for help. I think that's a big one too, is a lot of people get very prideful. They think that, they're the end all be all, they know everything, and they're not going to rely on somebody else to learn. And here's the thing is, catch that from both ends, okay? A lot of guys, what I've seen is they think that they can only learn from the guys that are out there that are experienced and been doing it for a really long time. But there are individuals out there kind of like me, where like I hyper focus on things. So, I like to do all the homework. I like to learn as much as I can to make sure that I am effective, because knowledge is power, and the more you know, the easier it is to grow your business. So there have been people that like I've spoken with that, I've said things to them, and they're way farther along on their journey than I am. I've said things to them when they're like, hey, that's a really good thing that I could be doing. So, just be open-minded to learn from either end of the spectrum. This is not to say that you can't learn something from somebody who's new. But definitely listen to the people that are out there that are doing it at the level that you want to be doing it. And then, again, like I said earlier, you have to believe that it's possible for you, because you're only going to get out of life, you're only going to get out of your business what you believe is possible for you. So it's more here than it is anything else. So you have to be able to tell yourself that you're going to be successful. And if you can't tell yourself that right now, listen to somebody else tell you that. They say faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. So eventually let somebody else's belief in your success kick in for you. So reach out to people that kind of inspire and motivate you. Talk to them and let them kind of pave that that way for you. Because if it wasn't for these guys sitting there telling me that, hey man, look, you got the makings to do it, you just got to get out there and get after it, then I probably wouldn't have taken that leap. That's it. That's what I got for you guys on this video. Again, like I said, I haven't done a check-in in a while, and I know this video went on kind of long. I'm trying to kind of catch you guys up over this last month and just what's happened. And this was a big step in that journey and seeing what I'm capable of this first month. So again, the difference in doing it part-time and doing it full-time, dedicating more time to it, the income difference is surreal. So it's been really nice going from just a couple thousand a month, doing it part-time on the weekends, to really kind of being full-time with it and being able to get out and do a little bit more marketing. Again, not much right now, but being able to do a little bit more marketing and clear that 10,000 a month goal again, and actually hit 14,000. That's my first $14,000 month. It's really nice. And here's the other thing is, I've already surpassed what my last year's entire revenue for the year was. Like my entire gross revenue for last year, I've already passed it. Here it is. It's only April the 29th. So that's it. You guys, do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you get notifications when I post new stuff. and I'll try to be more frequent on these, as long as you guys are liking them and I keep getting good feedback. But yeah, I'll check in with you guys later. See y'all.